Hello, everybody, and welcome to the DECA Dialogues. We're sitting down with members from all around as they share their unique journeys, from first competitions to future careers. Hear how DECA is building the leaders of tomorrow today. Get inspired, get connected. This is DECA Dialogues. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on episode eight. I believe it's episode eight of the DECA Dialogues now, and we are joined today by Xavier Sandoval. Xavier, how you doing today?
I am doing great. Thank you for asking, Miles.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Xavier, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Awesome. Thank you. So, yeah, as you heard, my name is Xavier Sandoval. I am the Rhode Island Collegiate DECA state president, and I'm also the vice president of Johnson& Wales University DECA. And been in DECA for about, I can't even count at this point, it's freshman year of high school. So, 7 years at this
Oh,
point.
okay.
It's,
Wow,
it's been a long
congratulations.
time, and it's been a fun ride. I love DECA with all my heart. So, yeah, I can't wait to talk about my story.
Absolutely. Thank you for that introduction. That's really amazing. 7 years. Wow, 7 years. That is awesome. And it does on the seventh year, does it ever get old, or does it feel like it's still got that same love and passion for it as soon as you joined?
More love and passion than ever.
I love that. I love that. Now speaking of that, speaking of how you joined a little bit, why don't you tell us a little bit about what that story looks like? You know, freshman in high school. What convinced you to do DECA, or what made you be like, okay, this is a club that I'd like to be a part of, or at least give a try for?
Yeah, definitely. So at my high school, Taunton High School in Massachusetts, we actually start at eighth grade, which is very different than a lot of other high schools.
Yeah.
And so eighth grade is mixed in with the rest of the high school, and you're able to do the same clubs and same sports and same classes, not same classes, but like you're mixed in with some classes with maybe freshmen and some things like that, depending on the type of course you take or the type of class it was. So we had a CTE class that was marketing for about a few weeks, and my marketing professor, Jesse McPhail, or teacher at the time, Jesse McPhail, is also the Taunton High School DECA advisor.
hmm
And from that class, he really started to get me familiar with what DECA was. This was my eighth grade year, and I knew that I wanted to get involved, but I didn't want to take on too much too early into my
hmm
start of my high school year. So I didn't do DECA my eighth grade because I didn't know too much about it, and it was very like kind of scary at first.
hmm
Like this is a big thing for me. So I was involved in other ways. But during my freshman year is actually when I first got involved. I had another class with Mr. McPhail, and it was an awesome experience. So I knew that DECA was something that I wanted to be a part of in some sort of way. I had a lot of friends that were also going to getting into DECA.
hmm
And so with that in mind, I was like, I want to be a part of this club, and I want to just at the time I knew I had a lot of other things going on, so I
hmm
wanted to be just a general member at first. And then one day I was in gym class, and one of my friends in gym class that was one of the officers at Taunton High School was like, I think you'd be a really good class representative. You're very outgoing, and I thought to myself that I was pretty shy in eighth grade, but you know, I could see that there was more to me in DECA that I could bring out of by being a part of the officer team. And
hmm
so I was like, let's take on this opportunity. My freshman year, I decided towards the end of the year that I wanted to start working a little bit closer with the officer team and
hmm
start getting more involved with the officer team by becoming a class representative for the ninth grade team, which basically just meant we were sending out all the messages from the higher ups on the team to
hmm
everybody else in our grade. So yeah, that's a little bit about how I started in DECA.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that's awesome.
think
That's really cool. That's really neat. You know, I find it really interesting that you mentioned about the eighth grade. That is really that's I don't think I've heard that one before. Yeah. Yeah, my high school, I think at least personally from my experience, they didn't offer the freshman class to do it, but I started my sophomore year. So for you to be able to have that or have the opportunity for the eighth grade, that's really cool. That's really
yeah,
cool.
And to piggyback off of that, in Taunton, Massachusetts, we actually, during my, I believe it was my junior year, started up middle school DECA, but it wasn't like officially through
Okay.
DECA, but it was like us leading and
Yeah.
giving like insight about what DECA was because we
Hmm.
want them to get involved right at eighth grade.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
middle schools were from fifth grade to seventh grade in my town. So it was easy to connect with those schools because a lot of the students that were in DECA at the high school had connections with their teachers there still
Hmm.
and had good connections. So we just kind of promoted it by like bringing high school students that are in DECA to those middle schools and
Hmm.
start talking about it and doing super, super, super small role plays that were easy to understand for middle schoolers. And it gave them the idea of how to come together and start critically thinking and
Hmm.
using their minds to develop them into becoming DECA leaders. And
Hmm.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, let's say fast forwarding to present day. You got out of high school, decided to join Collegiate DECA, and now kind of talk a little bit about how did you get into the role that you're in today? Maybe explain a little bit about what that role is, kind of how that experience looks like, and how it's going for you.
Oh my God, it's going awesome. It's going quick, but
Yeah.
I'm loving every second of it. Like I wouldn't be where I am today with DECA if it wasn't for the history that I have with DECA. I got super, super involved my junior year. I became our of high school. I became my class um, not class representative. It was our social media correspondent,
Mm,
and that's
okay.
what really turned my career into what it is today.
Hmm.
I wouldn't be where I am with my career if it wasn't for DECA, if it wasn't for taking that opportunity to become social media coordinator and
Hmm.
then serving as vice president my senior year for my chapter. I knew that I wanted to get more involved and stay in collegiate DECA. I knew what it was in high school. I was super involved um, as best as I could be. And with that in mind, when I was looking for schools, Johnson& Wales University had everything I was looking for, with my major being digital marketing and social media.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, that's very, very up my alley with like the social media marketing that I did junior year for DECA.
Hmm.
And I knew I wanted to be a part of DECA here. We had a really, really good chapter many years ago, kind of fell down a little bit with COVID, but our goal has always been to like keep a name for ourselves as Johnson& Wales DECA. And from there, moving forward, I knew I wanted to get more involved with the team here.
Hmm.
Um, so uh, this past year, um, I served as the VP of recruiting for JWU DECA, and that went pretty well. And then currently, I'm the vice president with an amazing team, and we just came back from Engage. So I
Hmm. Yes. Oh my gosh. Engage was an absolute blast. I miss it already. I miss it already.
Yeah. And so, as for Rhode Island state president, that's something that's been on my mind for a long time. Even like I remember back in San Francisco for ICDC, I had the um, state advisor, like a state executive, Alex Loudon. He's an amazing person, was super involved in DECA, and he wanted to build up our association team again
Hmm.
and reached out to me and a few other people from amazing schools around Rhode Island that have DECA chapters and see who wanted to get involved on the team. I said from the start that I want to be a part of it. I want to go far with it. And I think that recently, within the past few weeks, we've really like got the ball rolling and we've kicked things off. I recently started the Collegiate DECA Rhode Island Instagram account. So that's cdeca.ri. Make sure you guys give it a follow.
Yes, give it a follow. Great stuff. Great stuff on there. I'm loving it already.
Thank you. Yeah, we just started it up right before Engage to get our team out there
Hmm.
to post some content from Engage, which was an awesome experience. But I know we have some good plans as a team for not only the association, but with neighboring associations as well. We're keeping that on the down low for now, but we're
Okay.
we're
Okay.
gonna we're gonna bring some some news to the table pretty soon, hopefully.
I'm excited. I'm gonna be staying tuned. Now I'm itching a little bit. Oh my gosh, Xavier, you're giving a little, dropping a little. I didn't know we were pouring a little bit of tea on this podcast today. That's awesome. I'm excited to see what that is in the upcoming future.
Definitely. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be something that is going to elevate Rhode Island DECA as a whole.
Okay. I love that. I love that. No, that sounds really exciting. Like I said, what you're doing with the Instagram and kind of pushing Rhode Island toward the future and your work over at the Johnson and Wales. That's really that's exciting stuff. That's exciting stuff, Xavier. And I think you're excelling in what you're doing. And even at the Engage conference, you and I connected. And gosh, yeah, I mean, the photos that you've been posting, man, they're uh, insane, insane. I remember you coming up to me and you were showing me a post that you were doing. I'm like, my gosh, did you just like feel like you just took the photo and then you edited it like that, and the next thing you know, it was done. I mean, impressive, absolutely impressive.
Thank you. Yes, and that's something that like not only DECA has helped me learn, but it's also DECA has allowed it to I mean, DECA was like the first, like, I started taking photos at DECA conferences, and
Yeah.
then I was like, I love doing this. I love
Mhm.
doing event photography. And since then, I've done events for the past 2 years straight, every weekend, every day that I can take photos like of an event. I will find opportunities and take it to the max,
Mhm. Mhm.
maximize my momentum.
I love it. I love it, Xavier. Yes, that's awesome. And speaking of the photography side of things, moving into your future goals, I should say, is photography something that you want to get into, later on in your life? Say you graduate college, what does that future look like to you, if you have a plan yet? And it's totally okay if you don't.
Yeah, so currently I'm a junior still at Johnson and Wales, so I got 1 more year,
Hmm.
and I do have a mandatory internship that I have to do before I graduate. So
Hmm.
I'm looking to do that with a digital media agency, a few that I have in mind. But yes, digital marketing and social media, and more on the content creation side of things is
Hmm.
something that I do really want to get involved in after graduation. I mean, I've already had some amazing opportunities that I'm super grateful for, including taking photos at DECA conferences and being a part of different social media teams at both the high school level and the collegiate level. Uh,
Hmm.
it's been a crazy like it's crazy to think that like DECA is where it all started, and I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for picking up that camera that one day. So yeah, definitely some other bigger goals that I have are to like merge some of my interests together. So I was very big into the mixed martial arts world in high school, and I love that world, but I also love photography. So
Hmm.
mixing the two together is something that I'm doing now, and I plan to do a little bit more in the future.
That's
And
awesome.
one of the things that I remember taking away from your Deca Dialogue episode with Maddie was it was starting what you want to do like now. Like,
Hmm.
don't wait. If you can do it now, do it
Hmm.
now.
Hmm.
That was a very big thing that stuck out to me because I agree with it wholeheartedly. And I don't think that there's much holding you back besides yourself unless
Hmm.
unless you like let other things hold you back.
Hmm. That's super true, and I really appreciate that you took something away from that. That brings me joy. That to me shows that this is something that's working, and that really brings a genuine smile to my face, Xavier. So thank you, and that's super true, and I think that's really cool what you're doing, blending the martial arts and that social media aspect, that digital marketing, photography, so to speak. I think that's really cool, and I'm glad that you were able to pick up that camera, and glad you're able to discover that passion that was inside you. I think that's really cool and
Sure.
really inspiring.
That's a perfect segue into one of my biggest pieces of advice to give to people is that you can't really teach passion or work ethic, but if you can have the mentality that you're gonna do great one day, you're gonna stay on top of that, and and you're going to be successful to whatever your definition of success is. You just have to have a very strong mindset in that way, that like you're going to be successful, you're confident in yourself, and you will achieve your goals. And that happens by having a good mindset.
Mhm. That is awesome. That I mean, that's true stuff right there, Xavier. I really appreciate that. Now, yeah, as we're kind of coming toward the end of this Deca Dialogues episode, I'd really just like to open up the floor if you'd like to, say anything else, offer another piece of advice, maybe crack a joke. Like I said, the floor is yours. Whatever you'd like to say to anybody who's listening, Deca member or not Deca member.
Yeah, something that I'd like to say is, put yourself out there. It's not easy at first, but once you do it, it's rewarding, and you start to see success in yourself. And if you don't see success, at least you learn a lesson, and you learn what works for you. I talked a lot about my experiences in DECA in high school. One more that I want to bring up briefly is in November of 2021. I knew that I had a trip to Puerto Rico with my family, and I was like, how can I make the most out of this? And at the time, I knew Puerto Rico DECA existed, but I didn't know much about them. So I researched their chapters. I learned that they have a president, and I reached out to the president directly. And this was a few weeks before my trip to Puerto Rico. And I said, hey, I'm going to be in Puerto Rico for about a week with my family. I would love to make some time to meet you and your chapter and get to know how you do things down there. And well, I mean, it happened. So that's something that like I never would have thought I would have been able to do before starting DECA. And that was me putting myself out there. That was me taking, social media and using it to my advantage by
Hmm.
reaching out to these people and
Hmm.
using DECA as a common denominator between us two. It's very different how things are ran over there, but it's also very similar at the same time. Like a lot of us have the same goals in mind, and it was really, really cool to see that chapter months later at ICDC and just connect with people as you can through social media and, you know, get the edge.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love the callback there with the to get the edge. That's awesome. That's awesome, Xavier. Well, hey, thank you so much for all those words, and that's really those are some key takeaways from there, and we appreciate you sharing your experience. I think that's really wonderful that we were able to get you on here and kind of be able to connect and talk about that too. And I really appreciate it, and I'm excited to see what Rhode Island has for the future. I'm excited to see what you're going to do at Johnson and Wales, and I'm excited to see you at ICDC come April.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really fun to reconnect that way
Oh,
too,
yeah.
man.
It's going to
Uh,
be awesome. I can't wait for the future. Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And, everybody watching, please make sure you like, please make sure you share, comment. I love seeing your comments. And let's get connected. Let's get inspired. That's the whole point. And I really love that this is a way for us to, as collegiate and even high school members to really feel like there's a sense of connection between us all because there may be miles apart from us, but really we're all connected in a way and a thing that unites us, and that's this wonderful organization called DECA. So that's really, from Xavier to I, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of DECA Dialogues, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.